Did you see the Costa Coffee story? It's one of those that I woke up and saw this story, and then I sort of rubbed my eyes and thought, did I really read that? Costa Coffee accused of glamourising complex and dangerous surgery by covering a van with a cartoon image featuring mastectomy scars. The UK's largest coffee chain defended its use of the image to promote inclusivity and diversity, but was branded crass and irresponsible and absolutely bonkers. I think that's probably the word we could all at least settle on. The image depicting an androgynous-looking character wearing long shorts and scars below each nipple is taken from a mural designed by the chain for Brighton and Hove's Pride last year. You can see it there on your screens if you're watching on TV. The use of the image on a mobile coffee van used at events around the country was condemned by feminist campaigners and people who'd had breasts removed due to cancer. Let's speak to Susan Smith, co-founder of For Women Scotland. Susan, afternoon to you.
Hello, Ian.
Nice to have you with us. On that last point, you've been through this. You've had breast cancer. You've had a mastectomy. You're familiar with this whole process. How did you feel about a bit of a giggle on the side of a van from Costa then?
It was quite horrible, actually. You know, I try not to have my reactions to things informed by anecdotes, but I think that when you've been through something like this, and so many women have been through this, you know that this is a serious operation. Now, obviously, like most other women who've been through this, we did it because the alternative is so much worse. And so obviously the side effects are not the most important thing you're thinking about when you go through it. But afterwards, there will be, for many women, prolonged pain, psychological issues. There's the scarring, there's the risk of infection, there's scar tissue, reduced mobility, and all these things can affect your day-to-day life for the rest of your life. So to have this promoted for young women when it's purely unnecessary is actually heartbreaking.
They were my mum went through exactly this. She had breast cancer, she had a double mastectomy, and I'm familiar with all the things that you've just mentioned there, Susan, and it's, you know, nobody wants to go through that, of course. But as you rightly say, it's the wisest and best option amidst a minefield of decisions and all sorts of things going on. So when I saw that cartoon today, that's what went through my mind. I thought, well, hang on, what are they trying to get at here? What message are they trying to put forward? And of course, what they've done, which seems to be rather classic, is they've thrown in the word inclusivity and diversity, which is sort of meant to shut us all up, really.
Yes, and, you know, it's been awful on social media because many women have come on and started talking about these experiences and saying why they find this so upsetting. And they've been piled on by a group of people who I think a few years ago we would have known these were the real bottom feeders of Twitter, the dregs who just like to attack women for whatever reason. And they've been coming on saying, well, I hope you die of it, you cancerous bitch, and things like that. And now we're supposed to think they're the good guys because apparently they're defending people's right to be trans. That's how they're framing it. But actually, it's just about being horrific to women on social media.
Absolutely. And like all of these decisions, Susan, I always imagine, I try not to dwell on it because otherwise it'll drive me nuts, but I try to imagine there was a point, presumably, where a lot of people sat around a rather impressive table in a boardroom and some person held up the big sign and said, look, this is an idea for our ad campaign. You might think one person around the table would have gone, is that entirely appropriate, bearing in mind that the biggest association somebody would have with that imagery would be exactly what we spoke about here, with the fight against breast cancer and women who've been through it and women who've experienced not just going through breast cancer, but a mastectomy and all of the other procedures that follow, etc. You might think someone would have raised that at such a meeting.
Yeah, you would, but I think we've got to the point now where everybody else in society, their experiences, their feelings are considered as lesser. We hear so much about you know, being careful and tiptoeing around people's pronouns or their preferred gender choices. All these things we're told we have to respect this. We're told that it's, you know, ridiculous things like it's genocide if you get the name wrong. And yet everybody else's experiences, everything else that is potentially upsetting and harmful for other people are dismissed. So I think this isn't about diversity and inclusion, Costa, if you're listening. This is about saying that there are only one group of customers who actually matter to you, that the rest of us can go swing, and our feelings and our lives are not important to you.
And I think on that point, you absolutely have the endorsement of most people. Susan, thank you. Susan Smith, co-founder of For Women Scotland. On that point, she's been through that procedure, and I wonder, I suppose, why did they need to do that? Why, but bearing in mind there was always going to be, right, here's an imagery of something that, in most cases, 99.9% of cases, the only reason why you would have somebody with those scars would be because somebody had breast cancer, or they had the gene where they feared they might get breast cancer, and therefore they'd had a mastectomy. There might be some really rare cases where people have self-mutilated, or a surgeon has carried out that mutilation because of trans-based issues, and I would respect trans people. I wouldn't want to pile on to anybody there either. But the idea that you think that throwing that image out there, which is far more associated, rightly so, with women who've been through that, why would you wish to go there? What's going to happen? I mean, what do they do next? I mean, are they going to show somebody who's had their testicles removed? Is that the next sort of image for the next coffee chain, maybe? Do we do that one? Would they go? I don't think they would go there, wouldn't they? They can just about get away with this one because it's top, not bottom, as it were. And it's just a bit mucky, really. And the bit that really, I suppose, sticks the knife in, no pun, is throwing that. Well, let me read you the Costa Coffee statement. They said, at Costa Coffee, anything starts like that, you think, oh God, here we go. At Costa Coffee, we celebrate the diversity of our customers, team members and partners. We want everybody that interacts with us to experience the inclusive environment that we create to encourage people to feel welcomed, free and unashamedly proud to be themselves. The mural in its entirety showcases and celebrates inclusivity. Yeah, apart from the fact that it's an image more associated with women who've had breast cancer and had a mastectomy. Apart from that, where's the inclusivity and the diversity there? And what's with this infuriating, anti-intellectual kind of catch-all term, inclusivity and diversity? That's it, end of argument, stop, 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 no discussion, no counter, there's nothing to see here, there's no point of debate, there's no area for discussion, because we've thrown out the I and the D word, inclusivity and diversity. That's it, end of. And if you argue against it, then you're not in favour of inclusivity and diversity. You see, that's kind of like critical race theory and all those other kind of mumbo-jumbo daft initiatives that people try to peddle as being the authentic way to advance us as a human pool of people. And it's just nonsense, by the way. We all know it's nonsense. You can see it, you can taste it, you can feel it around you, but you say it out loud and somebody will shoot you down. So well done, Costa, and I will look forward to the testicular one. I'm just interested as to whether you will go there. I've got a funny feeling you probably won't.